Rolling? Yep. Peter Bonitatibus and 7, take 1 marker.
When you're looking at a couple hundred or maybe even 100 structures a year, and you can collect 5 in the morning, I mean, it just doesn't translate with the rapidity with which you can collect data and process data.
Because this is not one of those co-crystals, right?
No, this has fundamentally changed the workflow. It's the secure, thorough characterization that one needs for characterizing new molecules. It's the first stop. My name is Peter Bonitatibus, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I'm also the director of the single crystal X-ray diffraction facility. My first introduction to crystallography was as an undergraduate student. And we had a collaborative project between Fairfield University and Yale, and they were studying, we were studying high-valent manganese oxo clusters. It was explained to me that you could take pictures of these molecules, and I was shown an ORTEP at the time, and I thought that was pretty amazing, the fact that you could take pictures of molecules. So as an undergraduate, I really think that planted the seed for my ultimate interest and passion for the technique. And then when I got to graduate school in the late 90s, I was in Bill Armstrong's group at BC, and we were studying high-valent manganese oxo clusters there as well as on the opposite side of the redox scale, low-valent vanadium compounds. And that's where I spent a lot of time. These were paramagnetic systems, right? You could use EPR, but NMR was not an option, right? So to securely and thoroughly characterize these low-valent vanadium paramagnetic species, I really needed to learn crystallography. So that's really where I became enamored with crystallography. Not just synthesizing these molecules, but synthesizing the whole spectrum of crystal habit as well as color. And for me, I was quite fortunate that the department established the equivalent of a teaching assistant, a TA. So instead of having to be a TA, I was actually the manager of the diffraction facility as a graduate student. And I did that up and through the end of my graduate tenure, which ended in 1999. Hey, Pierre.
Hello, hello. Hey, Peter.
Nice to see
Come
you.
on in.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you.
All right, welcome to Rigaku.
But then, then I did step away from crystallography as a senior scientist in industry. There wasn't much of a call for single crystal. There was a period of there for almost 20 years where I didn't really practice chemical crystallography as we know it and as I loved it. When I joined RPI, there was no single crystal X-ray diffractometer available. But I knew that this was something that I needed, at least for my research, for my continued interest in paramagnetic systems and group 5 transition metal chemistry. I knew that I needed a diffractometer. I also recognized that I was bringing that expertise into the department.
Let's go to the lab and get started there.
I knew that we needed one, and I needed to secure the funding for that. And the path that we identified was an NSF MRI grant. So I collaborated with other PIs, and we wrote a grant and secured funding for a diffractometer at RPI to serve the region, as not only just the research endeavors on campus, but the broader universities, close by universities, as well as industry. Yeah, look at that.
What was your biggest surprise once you got introduced to the new technology?
I mean, obviously the basics remain, but the hardware and the processing.
Because this is not one of those co-crystals, right?
No, I think this is the first one.
So this is the expected one, or?
Yeah, this is the expected. This is the bisphenol. Bisphenol. It's actually boldine. That's the name of the molecule. I was away for crystallography for about 20 years, and I do remember more often than not setting up full half-day data collections, overnight data collections on the front end, and then on the back end. These refinements would just take forever. Back then we were using SGI, Silicon Graphics, Indy, the Unix operating system, and it just took a very long time to process the data, to collect the data, integrate the data, and then do structured solution and refinement. So that shrunk. The time investment in all of that certainly was reduced dramatically. I'd also say the specimens, right? I remember, we would go after 200 to 300 micron size crystals. I mean, huge, by today's standards, using the microfocus, huge boulders that we would have to try to grow and collect data on. And now they're down to tens of microns in dimension. So the sample size has changed dramatically. The time required to collect the data, process data, and refine the data, that is dramatically reduced.
So we have the same slit system on that beam that we had.
He had set.
And we had it in. So it took 5 hours to collect the data set, whereas in reality, this afternoon,
He did it over lunch?
He collected in 35 minutes.
Wow.
Instead of 5 hours.
I think the data is actually better. I think it went down from 399.
I also remember distinctly, as a graduate student manager of a diffraction facility, it was a different vendor. There was a lot of problems with the detector. This led to a lot of downtime that was, non-negligible as a manager of that facility. With the, with the air-cooled, the Hypix 6K that we have, I don't even look at the detector takes care of itself. There's no issues with the detector. There's no downtime attributed with that detector. You don't need to look twice at it. It does the job and does the job well. The user interface with the Synergy S and Chrysalis Pro is certainly it's certainly seamless with respect to its integration into the structural solution and refinement software with OLEX. That is something that I really appreciate, having those two talk to each other as seamlessly as they do. That's a really nice feature.
The microscope that you've got at RPI at the moment is an old one, probably.
Two old ones, yeah.
So again, whenever you have some money at the bottom of your drawer, really, you should invest in that.
I agree.
It will really help you. That alone will help you get better data because you'll be able to choose better crystals and smaller crystals.
I would say to local and regional colleges and universities that are looking to acquire a single crystal X-ray diffractometer that there shouldn't be hesitation or concern that a full-time staff person is required. At RPI we don't have a full-time staff person running the diffractometer. We process maybe 100 or 150 structures a year. So I think a local or regional university that might be on par with that type of workload, if you will, should not necessitate a full-time crystallographer to take care of the instrument. I think it's a misconception that you need somebody full-time.
I spend more time at the scope than I do collecting the data.
Absolutely.
Right? I spend more time trying to find an optimum specimen than it does
because this thing here,
to collect it.
It becomes so easy to get. So much easier to gather these small.
When you're looking at a couple hundred or maybe even 100 structures a year, and you can collect 5 in the morning, it just doesn't translate. It's not required to have a full-time person when you can, with the rapidity with which you can collect data and process data. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Like I mentioned, it's fundamentally changed the workflow for our group. It's the first stop, right, in terms of characterization, and it's the secure, thorough characterization that one needs for characterizing new molecules. My name is Peter Bonitatibus, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I'm also the director of the Single Crystal X-ray Diffraction Facility.
Well, it was nice meeting you. Thank you for everything you do.